Hello everybody, it's Joyce from my craft room. Thanks for stopping by today. Thanks to Stampin' Scrapbook Expo for hosting us once again. And I'm really excited to show you these today. We're going to be playing with layering stencils. This is really hot, fairly new, really easy, and really quick. This is the one we're going to work on today. Let me switch cameras here. Okay, this is the one we're going to work on today. This is the Garden Florals set from Pinkfresh Studios. They have lots of them, and I'm sure they're coming out with more. This is the card sample that I made with it, and what we're going to more or less duplicate today. So we're going to just get started, and I'll give you more scoop as we go along. What's really, really nice about the Pinkfresh ones is that this is a set of 5 stencils. In each one, stamped in the upper left-hand corner is the number. It says Stencil 1 on this one, Stencil 2, 3, 4, 5. And in each corner, there are little marks that you can line up with your cardstock as long as you cut it to 5.5 by 4.25. So once you do that, and I know you can't see it, but there's a little mark here and a little mark up here for me to know where to line up my cardstock. So I'm going to just put that there. I'm going to tape it down. If you're new to stenciling, or you're doing a lot of stenciling, I always love to use the Thermoweb Pixie Spray to hold my stencil down. It's a temporary spray adhesive. It works great. I'm not using it today just because we're going kind of quick. I'm using Altenew dye inks in this cute little tray that I got from Etsy. It's a shop called The Ink Stand. They have these for larger ink pads as well, but I'm telling you, I love it. I strongly encourage you to go have a look. And we're going to use some different applicators. This is Altenew's larger blending tool. We're also going to use their smaller ones. And this Picket Fence Life-Changing brush. It is a teeny little thing, and it gets in all kinds of teeny little spots. So what you do is you cut your cardstock to 5.5 by 4.25, ink up your applicator, and I'm going to use the bigger one for this layer because it's all one color. And it just slid on me. Darn it. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I guess I'm pressing a little hard. That's the problem. And we're going to just lay down all the ink. A little more over here. And there you go. Now, I like to add a little of my own shading. So I'm going to take this little Picket Fence brush and just add a little darker green to the base of some of these leaves. And that's what's so great about this little tiny tool, is that you can get in to all these little fine spaces without putting the ink everywhere. See how nice that works? It's just going to get just the bottoms of the leaves. I don't want to shade the whole thing. That would kind of defeat the purpose. Whatever your preferences are, I mean, these work great. Obviously there are larger ones too, if you want to cover more area. But the blending tools, like I showed you before, and these brushes are great. Whoop. Okay. Okay, so layer number 1 is done. Now we're going to go on to layer number 2. Again, we're going to just line up those corner marks. And I didn't have it right side up, which is the other nice thing about the markings on here. You can tell which is the front, which is the back, which is the top, which is the bottom. So, lay that down, put our tape back down, and now we're going to use the smaller Altenew brush because we don't have as much area to cover. Now, this is a very light pink. This is rose quartz from the Rose Petal ink collection of Altenew's. Don't be concerned that that green is showing there. It's supposed to. It's probably a good idea to get a little more ink on the outer edges, because otherwise these sometimes might look a little too much like no line watercolor, if you know what that is, if you're familiar with it. You stamp with a really light color ink and then add in your colors, and it looks like you painted instead of stamped, which is cool, but sometimes you want a little definition. Now, a lot of these stencil sets come with matching dies and stamps. This one in particular does not, but most of them do. All right, so there's layer number one. Now, just because I like a little variation, I'm going to add a little kind of a peachy color to the center of these two blooms. All right, so layer number two is done. Let me move this up so I don't keep sending it flying. Of course, everything that we're using today you can find at mycraftroom.com. There is a coupon code. It's 𝐂𝐸𝐴15. It is good for everything on the website except for kits and heat laminators. All right, now for these two blooms, we're going to use a yellow. And then I'm going to go back with my pink and get these little buds. You probably can't even see them on here, but there are little buds. In fact, we're going to use the darker pink. No kit today. There's too many choices with all of these stencils, so I'm just going to say, go have a look, see what you like. Okay, now, the other thing I wanted to do with these two was I going to add a little pink or a little, I think I was going to add some pink. Yeah, little pink on the centers of these. And actually, my little brush would have been a better choice, but okay. On to the next layer. Now, this layer is going to give us some centers to these flowers. All right. And we're going to use the darker pink for these two. Wait a second, I'm not straight. I am not straight. This is a darker shade from the Rose Petal set of inks again. And we're going to do pink in the center of the yellow flowers. All right, and one more layer. And this is more greenery. Tape it down. And we'll go back to our green brush. We're going to use a darker green this time. This is the olive shade from the same tropical ink set as the bamboo. Could have used my bigger brush again, but that's all right. Okay, and then just a little brown, because there's openings for the centers, and I'm just going to kind of scribble that green off my brush. Get my brown ink. Don't need a lot. Okay. Take off this one, and we are done. Now all you have to do is assemble your card, and you are good to go. And that, whoop, easy on the tape. And that is what we did here. Now, on this one, I also added the one of the scalloped stitched frames. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but a little frame and a white card and some clear droplets, and you are all good to go. Now, I wanted to show you some of the others that are available. This is a set called Friendship Blooms. Now I put this on top of the Altenew floral swirl motif embossing folder. And this one comes with the dies. Obviously, not comes with, but has matching dies, the stencils, and the stamp set. So that's one. There are also several Slimline layering stencils. This is You Are My Favorite. Now I did this on top of a 2D, I don't know if you can see that, Slimline lattice die. I really like this one. And again, coordinating stamp and die. And there is the stencil set. This is, come on, Incredibly Grateful. Now, I use this for a holiday card. Whoops, my label's coming off. And I put it on top of one of their striped stamps. But this is just a floral pattern, so you could use it any time of the year. And again, the coordinating stamps. And the stencils and the dies. Now the die will cut out the center or the outer edge, or both. Okay, and then we have a few that I don't have samples for, but I just want to show you. This is Choose Hope. That's the stamp image, stencils, and, come on, the dies. So that's on the website. Now, on my website, go under Paper Crafts, you go under Stencils, and there is a category called Altenew Stencils and Pinkfresh Stencils, and the matching dies and stamp sets are going to appear there as well as in the stamps and dies category. So if you're just interested in these, you don't have to go any further than the stencils category. This one is Infinite Blooms, really pretty, kind of a swag of florals. And again, the stencil set and the matching die set. And this is what it looks like. Okay. And one other from Pinkfresh is another Slimline set called Be Courageous. Stamps, stencils, and dies. The die cuts out the interior. This is what it looks like. Really pretty. Just can't hardly get the whole thing in the camera. Okay. Now, Altenew, as I mentioned, also has a variety of the same idea. They do not have the markings on the stencils, but I found them very easy to line up. This is the Flower Bunch stencil. It's just the stencil. Much like the garden florals we did today, it basically fills in the whole card front, so there's really no need to cut it out. And You Are Beautiful. Now this one comes with matching stamps and dies. Now this is the whole layering set. And the dies. And then there is Tranquility Rose. I love this one. Now this one, I used the stencil to color the whole thing. And then I went back and stamped over it with the stamp set. Here is the stamp set. And you can see the outline of the flower. I just stamped that right over the stenciling with some Versamark and put some gold embossing powder over it. And I think it turned out really pretty. I think it just gave it just that nice little extra bit of dimension. So if you ever think you don't really need the stamps, well, they kind of come in handy sometimes. Plus, of course, you can just stamp. And then last but not least is Kind Reminders. Again, I don't have a sample of this one, but it's two beautiful flowers, matching stencils and dies. And the dies kind of give you an idea of what the images look like. If I can get it out of the glare. Okay, so I think that's it for me today. Don't forget to go check out mycraftroom.com. Expo15 is the code. And I will say thanks for stopping. Have a great day.